seconds remaining.
And we're back. Game number 2 of our lone best of 3 of the day. Fnatic taking on Cloud9, and C9 got things done in short order in game 1, notching a win and putting themselves just one more game's win away from really being a serious contender to knock down either EG or Na'Vi out of the top 2 seeds currently in our standings. You know, C9 is guaranteed a playoff berth, so that's all said and done. But now it's just jockeying for position. Fnatic, there's still a scenario or two, depending on how things play out, where they could maybe find themselves on the outside looking in, but they've already got 3 wins, and this is their last series. So even if they do lose, they still should be in pretty solid position to at least make it in as a bottom seed. But right now, the 2 teams, believe it or not, that are hurting are the DreamHack Bucharest champs in Alliance and then Team Liquid. Both are sitting near the bottom of the standings with a match left to play as well. So again, as we look ahead to the next few days, the next week or so of play, all of these matches have pretty impactful meaning in terms of the overall picture. Cloud9, though, really the team with their fate in their own hands. And we can see they're going to go ahead and grab up the Mirana for Sing Sing, most likely. Shadow Shaman going to be taken by them this time, robbing Fnatic of the pick they used last time. Fnatic, though, snags themselves the first pick. Bad Rider still waiting on the second to break down the draft and lead insight and analysis. Once again, welcome in Trouf. And yeah, I think we were both really is the word that is most optimum. Really impressed with what Cloud9 was able to do with that lineup. And the way the draft ended up playing out in action was even more impressive than it looked on paper.
Their communication was just obviously evident in there. It was very fun to watch them. And normally whenever you're confident enough to first pick a Wisp, it needs to be, because that hero does require lots of talking, lots of communicating with your team. Yo, you guys go up top, group up, we can gank them, I'll be bottom, and then if they go on you, we Wisp relocate with, you know, whoever we want to. And in that case, it was Ricky. It was at one point when I was mentioning when Ricky TP bottom, I was like, oh no, this is bad. Ricky, he shouldn't be TPing, he should be trying to look for kills, but Wisp changes all of that. He completely changes the way that teams have to play against him. And as a result, now Cloud9, they say, well, Fnatic's got first pick, we need to ban out this Wisp because we know that Fnatic's good Wisp players as well. So yeah, just really well played. Also, the big thing too is last game, they were able to shut down Trixie on Weaver so hard with even just a dual lane.
Yep.
And I think that's really important in this metagame is getting heroes that can just not only secure farm for your one position, in this case it was Leshrac, but it also completely be a threat to whoever is in that off lane. And they did it with 2 heroes, not 3, just 2. And I think that's a really important thing to note.
Yeah, whenever you see a Weaver, very often you see a Weaver delayed in farm. Maybe the movement is there too much, or maybe there's just too much going on. He can't really get his items out at the timing he wants. But it was so much more than that, and what they were able to do to take him out of the game plan entirely for Fnatic. And he just never really felt like a factor whatsoever. Their ability to shut him down was through the roof, and that was certainly a huge part of the win, just to echo your point. We're into the second ban phase now. Invoker going to be banned out, so Hani not going to be able to grab that pick up again. Cloud9 does have another ban, and Tiny's always an option, though they do see a Rubik right off the bat, so don't know that they're going to, hey, Rubik right off the bat. I didn't even mean to do that, but it was kind of clever. Yep, exactly. Rim shot, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Pretty much any team I would advise to ban Eris Tiny, but the hell with it. They didn't really struggle in game 1.
Yeah, I think there was problems outside of like, oh, Tiny's easy, we can play against him because he plays him so well. I just think in general, Fnatic's decision-making as far as when to engage or disengage in a team fight was just not there.
Yeah.
Case in point, when Hani, right after they got the Aegis, got caught after a little skirmish, I feel like if they just ran to help him right away, they would have been fine. But even then, if their decision was, no, he's dead, okay, that's one thing, then you back away. But they went in after he died, so it didn't make any sense. They actually tossed in the tree. Again, I feel like he tosses in a lot of people to their deaths, unfortunately, because Weaver died once to it, and the tree died once to it. But they went in and engaged afterwards, so I think their communication needs to be a little bit better for lineups like that. Also, you know, I don't want to talk too much about last game, but this did bring up a memory of mine. I talked about the 4 stuff, but also the first Boots of Travel. You wonder if maybe he invested that 2,000 gold in closer to getting a Necro 1, and having fast Necro 3 is obviously good against a Ricky who doesn't have BKB yet. Right. He was quite far away from it at that time. That's one thing to note too.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Like you said, just the Necro creeps, obviously, with the vision and just how troublesome they are for heroes who are going to be relatively low health pool. Though, in fairness, we did see Eternal Envy go with the survivability build of Treads and Drums, which that's fairly survivability-oriented for a Ricky. But Yeah, decisions across the board. You could nitpick 100 things, I'm sure, if we took time to do it. But in the end, Cloud9 just played better, and I think that's what it comes down to. It's in pretty much every phase. So this time they grab up a Wraith King to go with their Mirana and their Shadow Shaman, so they're going to have a fair amount of push and certainly a lot of utility. I really like the way Cloud9, at least the last time I saw them play Wraith King in a game I casted. The way they ran it is very, very creative. They get an early Blink Dagger on it, believe it or not. And it can be very effective, especially when you have a lot of follow-up stuns. And that's what they've got. They've got Impale, they've got Hellfire Blast, they're going to have Hex and Shackle, and they're going to have the Sacred Arrow. So in terms of being able to chain abilities together, not just in big 5-on-5 situations, but just a couple of heroes smoking and running through the jungle, they're going to have a lot of ways to kick off fights and to make picks happen. Fnatic, on the other hand, they're not really liking that department either. You've got Batrider's Lasso, Nature's Prophet, of course, +1 to any fight, and Slark. And we'll see how active he's going to be. And Slark's just such an unbelievable pain in the ass to deal with when it goes late game.
I think Shadow Shaman really makes this lineup possibly work for Cloud9. There's two things I was worried about without the Shadow Shaman. Is one, how are they going to push towers? Two, how are they going to defend towers? And Shadow Shaman kind of fixes both of those. He's obviously a great tower pusher. Not the best at defending, but he's probably the best one out of these 4 heroes yet, because he can defensively use the wards if he needs to. Also, the Ether Shock is one of the highest damage dealing spells that you can nuke early on. So I think he really puts this lineup together, because that's the one thing I was worried. And that's why I was wondering, maybe Fnatic want to go for a push strat, because, again, Cloud9's D-push isn't the best right now, but they went with the Slark, so they still have pushing mechanics with the Nature's Prophet and Bat being able to come in with a flank with an early blink. I also wonder, it's probably going to be a Batrider mid, I would assume, and Nature's Prophet off lane. But we could see. Again, Fnatic is notorious for running some crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's tough to predict lanes until you start to see what player begins to select what hero, and even then, it's still tough to call in many situations. And I do 100% agree with you regarding Shadow Shaman. He's basically Lebowski's rug. He really ties things together. And he gives them everything they needed to make sure that this lineup wasn't just going to get run over very early on. But waiting to see how they're going to wind this up and how they're going to end up laning this. Sing Sing does like the Mirana mid quite a lot. Doesn't mean they're wedded to that. Could be a tri-lane coming out of the Shadow Shaman, Wraith King, and Nyx Assassin, obviously, and that would give us a need for an off lane. But there's so many ways you could swip this around if you wanted to put Nyx out in the off lane. I mean, he thrives there. In fact, I would say he's more common there, so they could be looking for another support if they wanted to go something kind of cookie cutter as well. Or even you could solo safe and end up trying to do something aggressive with the Mirana. So we'll have to wait and see. But this is one of the things that makes watching these teams very fun as well, is they tend to be pretty creative in their drafting, and Cloud9 almost to a fault sometimes. They've been catching some flack over the last month or so, and some of it justifiable, some of it not, for getting into late rounds of tournaments and deciding they're going to go with something completely off the wall, then it just, you throw the spaghetti against the wall and it doesn't stick. But it does make for some entertaining drama, if nothing else.
Yep. Yeah, it's very ambiguous right now until the last pick is what they're going to do, because like you mentioned, Mirana mid, I would say there's no better player than Sing Sing on it. Like, he plays it phenomenally, just so well, always hitting arrows. And that's pretty much what the mid Mirana is all about. Like, you got to hit those blood.
Oh, hello.
Okay, I wonder if this thing is still bugged, because it's actually kind of a big deal in my opinion that you can cancel TPs with the Q.
Yeah.
So hopefully that doesn't make teams upset, or maybe it was hot fixed. I don't know, but Bloodseeker, aside from that fact, Bloodseeker is very strong. Just like I mentioned last game, when we were talking about possible heroes that both teams could pick up, is that you can't dispel his Q now, unless it's, maybe you can purge it with a diffusal. I don't know 100% because I haven't tried it out that much. But as far as just heroes having a BKB or a Manta, can't get rid of it.
Yeah, and that's the Bloodseeker pick. You wonder if it's going to come out, and then it does. And the hero, like really, I think the issue with the TP bug is that it makes him a little too good at what he does very well, which is gank and move and pick off targets. And the way you deal with Rupture is usually just a TP in his face unless he's got help. And and now that you can't do that, it really makes him, basically, if you get caught, and even if it's just one-on-one, you should be able to do so. You can't, but I don't know. It's like the way I look at stuff like that is it's well known and well publicized, and both teams had access to it. Omni Knight actually going to be the last pickup for Fnatic, so that's going to be No Tail playing on the Omni. Been a while since I casted a game with an Omni Knight in it.
I mean, I guess Repel is very good here this game, but they still have lots of physical damage. Like, Mirana's isn't the Actually, Morales isn't that bad, honestly, early on, because she's able to maneuver and fight so well, which means she's getting off more auto attacks. Auto attacks from Shadow Shaman's ulti. Obviously, Omni Knight has access to the ulti, but that as a support Omni, I suspect unless they're dominating in the early game, he's not going to get it early on.
Yeah.
And if they're dominating in the early game, then that could have been any pick, and he still would have been fine. So it's, I don't know. I mean, I love new picks. I just don't know how. Also, the damage from the ruptures, I believe, is pure or whatever.
It's HP removal, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. So I don't know. Maybe they prove me wrong. Hopefully they do, because it's fun to watch new heroes, especially Omni Knight. But I just don't know if it's going to be effective this game. And
it's actually going to be AUI who's going to be on the Wraith King as the Bloodseeker, as I think we would have anticipated. Picked up by Eternal Envy. Want to see how they're going to lane it. Want to see what the overall plan is for both sides. One thing that Fnatic's going to have huge potential to do is just burst down heroes early on, depending on how No-Tail builds. Would imagine Purification is going to be maxed fairly early. So whenever you talk about Purification, Dark Pact, etc., off of a pounce that leashes someone down or latches them down, or however you want to say it, that's a whole lot of damage in one big burst coming out from just Dark Pact and Purification. In terms of being able to blow up a hero that Era's on top of and auto attacking. So they've got the ability to really punish anyone that they catch out. And good, they're going to do the ping again. I love them so much. Thanks, guys. I hate you. I hate you all so much. No, there is some good things with Omni Knight that you can couple. Like, one, you don't really need a BKB for Bat. Like, he can just go in with the repel, which is great. Also, too, it does work quite nicely with Slark, because if he pounces on someone, you use the Purification on him, it's easy damage. And Purification, that damage is not anything to be scoffed at, because I believe it's actually, outside of Double Edge, which hurts yourself, the strongest nuke in the game, because it's pure and it does 360. Not to mention it also heals yourself. So it's a huge nuke, and if you're able to connect with it with a Slark, pouncing on someone, or even Hani just lassoing someone and then you heal the Batrider himself, it's very effective that way. Still waiting to get the game underway. Looks like, okay, we got G's on both sides. Game number 2 of our lone best of 3 of the day, Fnatic and Cloud9. Remember that following the conclusion of this match, depending on what time we finish up, we're shooting for probably 3 to 3:30, I think, is when we're going to end up trying to take the show live, depending on how the match finishes, and if it ends up being a 2-0 and all that kind of stuff, and 2-1. But one way or the other, it's going to be the top or the bottom of the hour following the conclusion of this match. So if we finish up at, say, 3:45, we're going to start at 4. If we finish up at 2:45, we're going to start at 3. If we finish up at 3:15, we're going to start at 3:30, and so on. So make sure you stay tuned following the conclusion of this. No more than probably 20 or so minutes after the conclusion of the series until we get reported underway, and we'll have Team Dogs MSS on as our guest, and me and Charlie will be talking shop about TI qualifiers and all kinds of fun stuff, so make sure you catch that. And looks like, I'm not going to be any early aggression early on. Both teams just staying on their side of the river. We'll see who's handling who's going to be Fly playing on the Rubik, with the Omni Knight going to be handled by No-Tail. He's in mid, at least for the moment. Era's going to be farming up our Slark. Nature's Prophet going to be played by Trixie, still back in the basement. He'll be moving out soon. And Hani will be taking the Batrider mid. Other side of the river, you got Pylai Dai, played an excellent IO in game 1, this time on Shadow Shaman. Bloodseeker picked up by Eternal Envy, while Moran is going to be handled in mid by Beaver Knight, a.k.a. Sing Sing. Wraith Knight going to be played by AUI. Support Wraith Knight. I want to get your opinion on that. And then Bone 7, of course, on the Nyx Assassin. He's going to be going out into the off lane. Very quickly, how do you feel about the support Wraith King? I like it. Like, we've talked about Wraith King before. I'm not the biggest fan of it as a core, but as a support, I think it just is so good. The stun is one of the better ones in the game, and he doesn't really need much more. Like, the stun is pretty much him, whether he's a 1 position or a 4. And being able to just get in the front lines and just they focus him, that's good for your team. So he can be as aggressive as he wants to. I like it as a 4 personally. I think it's very strong. A lot of pings coming out. They did spot this bottom one that was placed for Fnatic. So good job by C9 there. I was going to mention one more thing. Oh, I think another thing that Fnatic was thinking with this Omni Knight pick was the repel is good, obviously, against the Blood Rage for Bloodseeker. But again, I still feel like I feel like they're still going to need more. I'm not 100% sold on it yet again, and we'll have to wait and see. But dual lane's coming out here for the time being for Fnatic, with Rubik and Slark down here, and No-Tail. He was kind of sitting mid, now just pulling for the Batrider. Saw Era and Fly get some damage done in the Nyx, but one of the reasons he does succeed is, yes, you can burst him, but especially at early levels, it's so hard to really be able to burst him down through Carapace. And Hani and No2L are just playing super aggressive, already back up behind the tier 1, using Firefly to burn down those creeps. We can see Courier, not sure, yep, it's got a bottle on it. That's going to be Hani's, and it is on the way. So he does manage to pick it up, but yeah, this is going to be some tough going for Sing Sing. I mean, Mirana can be tough to track down, but doesn't mean that they don't have the tools. Lift on Bone 7 at bottom, and there's going to be the pounce. It lands. Carapace was popped early, and if you're able to kill a Nyx Assassin, it's usually because of that, but just not enough follow-up right-click damage after the pounce, and he's able to actually turn around and give Fly a little pat on the back for his efforts. A little bit of damage done.
Puts down a sentry, too, that was given, and wants to counter this war. That'll be really good for him, actually. He's taking a lot of damage, but this is good. This is going to mitigate a lot of the vision here for Fnatic. That means Fly is kind of not going to be as useful as he could be. This is a big, huge wave here, so unfortunately, Era might miss several CS here in this bottom tower. They're pinging out Trixie. Another stun up in about 5 mana. He popped the mana potion. Should be able to get in range. No, he's fogging him.
There you go. Hellfire Blast. Pilot Eyes there. Can't get in range. Has shackles, but just too far behind. And the illusions of AUI kind of got in the way there. And we can see now as you mentioned that ward gone, Bone 7 playing very aggressive, making sure he stays in experience range. And good, the coughs are back. C9 smoking up, at least for the moment, and they're going to hang around and maybe try to take a run at mid.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, Era unfortunately missed several CS down there. He's going to miss another one here. Yep. And it seems like not a big, he's going to miss another one, but they are initiating it nonetheless on the Bone 7. He's still saving that Spike Carapace, so he will live for the time being, and he should be fine. And every time they do this and they don't get a kill, it's
No2L in mid. Oh, he got off the purification. Can heal himself now, but not going to need to. Hani's right there with him. Sing Sing trying to track him down. Or not the purification, excuse me, the repel. And couldn't purification himself to heal, but didn't need to after all. So C9 wasting a little bit of time rotating their supports, and Fnatic able to keep both in good shape. We're at 3 minutes, 15 seconds in. Still no first blood on the board. Who do you think a quiet early game benefits the most here?
Probably Fnatic. I think that their laning phase is awkward and not very good because Omni Knight just doesn't really do much in laning phase. So if they're able to get this game with good CS on all their members, then I think it benefits them. Oh, as Bone 7 finally gets taken out. Took them about 4 tries, but they finally got it done. So that's really good for them, and especially on Era because he missed a lot of CS as a result of failed kills. And just the tower being pushed by so many creeps. So good for Era. He really needed that. Stun coming up from Bone 7. I don't suspect he'll get this kill, but trying to put some aggression on the Era. He does come back, and he's going to get some good experience. So again, good first blood, but not the end of the world here for C9.
UI finds another rune. This time it's an invis. No2L, pretty sure No2L saw him pick it up, so they're aware that he's probably going to be hanging around mid, and they'll end up playing quite careful because of it. And we can see the Bat has moved into the jungle now, so this is just No2L soaking up levels. He'll be to level 4, and yeah, AUI is just going to go flat looking for the Bat, and we'll spot him. And let's see if he wants to try to do anything about it. You know, he's just going to soak and split some experience off of this. If Hani's watching very closely, you might even suspect this is happening. Meantime, Era could be in some trouble. He actually turned around and went for an auto attack. Now going to use the wand charges and gets the pounce off. Right clicks in favor of Era. Era ends up dying though. However, that's still a benefit for Era as the Nyx Assassin wasn't there to share any of the experience, though he did end up getting the gold. So bit of an odd decision there. I don't know why Era actually felt it necessary to re-engage there.
Well, he thought that he would be able to get the kill and not die, but that's pretty good for C9. Like, even though Bone 7 didn't get experience, he's still getting experience. And he's getting way more, honestly, than Nature's Prophet, who's only level 2. Not to mention, this is what I mean. Like, look at the CS. Envy has 37 going on 38 now. Era has 17. It's actually a humongous deal. Not to mention, Bloodseeker is thought of as, shout out to all the people there saying, damn you Bloodseeker pickers when I pick Slark, because it's a really good counter to Slark.
Yep.
You can never really get that regen with your ult when you're below half HP. So.
Yep, and that's an excellent point. We didn't even talk about that. Is the fact that Bloodseeker inherently counters that the way that the passive works. Now we're going to have Eternal Envy track down. AUI is right there behind him. There's going to be, there's the stun to follow it up. Moonlight Shadow used, doesn't matter. Free kill there, and Trixie can do nothing but look on. He's got brown boots, gets some help from Hani. But I don't know. Yeah, they don't have enough damage. Like, that's the thing. Like, what are they going to do here? We see the Treants trying to do some blocking and the stacking of the sticky napalm. Arrow uphill. There's going to be a Hellfire onto Ohani. Two-man impale, and they're able to turn it around again. Fnatic just doesn't have damage output. I have no idea why they're trying to fight. And that's going to end up being a win for Cloud9 pretty much categorically. 6 minutes, 5 kills finally, as the game is beginning to get more active. And Cloud9 taking a fairly sizable lead, given there are no towers down. 750 gold now their lead at this early.
It's not to be ignored, too, that how strong Bloodseeker is in team fights, because anytime people get low HP, his maneuverability in team fights and mobility just goes through the roof. Like, you get so fast. The biggest thing, too, is you have constant vision of them, so you can't get kited, which is, it's really huge in team fights, honestly, at this level of play. And as I mentioned, of course, too, is the counter to Slark. It's a pretty good counter to Slark, because if he's ever half HP or lower, his ulti will never trigger him. He won't get that extra movement speed and HP regen. So, in that respect, Bloodseeker is just a phenomenal pick.
And Bone7 trying to give a little bit more damage to Era. Things stabilizing out a little bit. Still just level 3.5 for the Prophet. He's only got 700 gold towards his Midas, if that's indeed where he's going to go. Pylai Die is level 5.5 right now, and could potentially be pushing towers relatively soon. Hani, in the meantime, is making great progress towards his Blink Dagger. He's only 300 gold out from his Blink right now. So everything for Fnatic seems to be at least hanging for the moment. But C9 just, again, this is another game where they just feel like they're one step ahead.
I don't know why Era didn't go for a kill bottom. Bone7 just used his stun and his carapace, and he packed it off the stun duration, and he could have ran in with the ultimate in another pallet. So I feel like kind of missed an opportunity there, unfortunately. Maybe just was scared of any possible aggression, and yeah, kind of curious.
D2L now making his way over. Hani just taking his time and getting the Blink Dagger up as soon as possible. Rubik will be level 6 before long as well, and are a fair number of decent skills for him to steal if he's able to get them from C9. There's the Blink now on the bat. So you think this is a time for Fnatic to get aggressive now that you have the Blink up? Or, like, what would be the go marker for you? What do you feel like Fnatic really needs for them to feel effective in trying to take the fight to C9 in mid-game?
Well, it's definitely the Blink. The only problem is Trixie's very underleveled. You would like to have this. Oh, here comes an ulti on Trixie. Just speaking of it, doesn't have TP, doesn't have the ulti even, or sorry, the actual TP spell, and a double damage, as you mentioned, on Bloodseeker. So much damage. He's hitting for 200 with the extra movement speed too.
Yep, and that's what Bloodseeker Doto's like. It's just miserable. He was moving quick. You cannot play with low health or you will be punished. Pylai Die did hit 6. And the Glyph immediately used to try and defend this tier 1. So we're going to see a mass reaction. Hani's going to immediately smoke. Now, I don't think they've seen the Blink Dagger, had a chance to see it as he spent all this time in the jungle. Smokes popped from Sing Sing and AUI moving behind the tower. Let's see if they want to engage. They're going to have to engage past these wards if they want to do so. Might be happy if they can just get a deny. And that's probably the best they can hope for. They're not going to get it. And here we go. Lasso used. That's going to be Eternal Envy brought back. There's the Purify. We saw the nuke, but he's able to make it away behind that. Trixie engaged upon by AUI. And Sing Sing doing what he can. AUI eating a lot of damage here, but certainly helping to dish it out too. As Fnatic has to just pull back. In the meantime, they do get the kill on the Rubik. No-Tail coming back in, but his lack of utility right now showing itself. And here comes Envy back in just in case. They didn't even need him. And just like that, a 1-for-4 exchange, including the death of a tier 1 at top. This is not looking good for Fnatic here in the early game. 8-3. They're going to be able to respond to keep Era off of this tower. That's Bone7 once again. Hits a nice impale. And yeah, I feel like Fnatic's laning phase has just completely collapsed around them now.
Yeah, and you saw right there, even with the Purification on top of Battle Ulti, there's just not enough damage. You just had drums delivered too for Bloodseeker, so he's hitting around 1200 HP with Strength Treads on. And he is not an easy target to take down. It has to be someone else, but you don't want to go on like Wraith King. You don't want to go on Rasta when she's already deployed the wards. It's very difficult to go on the Mirana because she's very elusive and is standing pretty far back. And now his drums herself, so she's quite tanky. So it's just the targets are very seldom here as far as what you want to go for if you're Fnatic. And I think the big thing too is Trixie is so freaking underleveled. Like, he's not even level 5 yet. And they need his ultimate in these fights because they need that extra bit of damage with the lasso on top of it. And Era hasn't been able to be really participating too much in these fights because he had such a hard time farming.
Fnatic gonna have to do something, or they're gonna give up a free Roshan. Cloud9 in force. That's gonna be 4 of them down there. And in the meantime, Envy just jungling away. We'll see what he ends up wanting to buy next. But as you said, right now, Sing Sing feeling very well-rounded with the Aquila and the drums. I really like that build on a Mirana, especially whenever you have alternative sources of damage. You don't have to worry about getting up a quick Maelstrom or something like that. And instead, you can just be able to hang in these fights and just be a playmaker in and of your own right. There's an arrow. Found Hani. Shoot arrow, hit arrow. He's going to go right for it. There's a lot of help behind him, though. And now the lift. So Sing Sing getting a little too aggressive, ends up feeding himself and the Aegis in the process. Fnatic going to be caught with a stun coming out from AUI. Here comes the damage. Hex onto him. Right back up. Sing Sing once again focused. There's going to be the ultimate from Fnatic, guarding Angel, keeping them safe from physical damage. Hani now looking to go south. Here comes Era, re-engaging AUI, coming back out off of Bone 7 as well. He's brought down. His ultimate will have him back up. Slows in place. There's the rupture on to Fly as he's now going to be brought down through pure right click. And Era hanging just long enough to buy time. Pylai die. Able to survive when all said and done. Trixie dodges the Sacred Arrow at the back of the fight, but once again, a bad exchange for Fnatic. 5-10 now stands the score, and they gave up their carry, which is already very far behind.
Kind of weird plays from Sing Sing. Like, I don't know why he leapt in there on top of a tier 1 tower with everyone missing. They're pinging out Owie like crazy, but he died twice and bought back, wasn't able to use anything of it. But still, I think technically won that fight. As Bloodseeker, he's just so good in these fights, man. Like, being able to, like, just constantly catch people with extra movement speed. And like I said, you can never fog him. So if they're half HP, he just gets so fast and you can't kite him ever. So his physical damage output is also extremely high when you have multiple heroes on the other team that are low.
Smoke at top. Fnatic moving out, trying to catch someone. Same game plan out of C9, though they're just doing it blatantly. They know Trixie's there. Eternal Envy did buy himself a Blade Mail, by the way, and now those wards being put to work once again. One of the many things a Rasta pick gives you early on. They're going to be able to take this tower very quickly, and they may even be able to make it back in time to defend the tier 1. Yeah, they're going to go ahead and send somebody back. Bat might have been spotted there. Nope, Envy didn't see him. Certainly does now as he's lassoed and brought back out. And he did, what did he? He actually managed to get the stun from Wraith King. AUI threw out the Hellfire Blast. Now there's going to be a rupture at the very last minute, and that ends up being a death of No Tail. Hani going to be shackled right as he was trying to get up over the trees. And Cloud9 not only able to bring down the tower, but able to make it a 4-for-1 exchange in the process. And it just seems like it's not even 1 step forward, 2 steps back. It's 1 step forward, hitting the mouse, stagger back 8 steps at the moment for Fnatic.
Yeah, that's right. They just don't have enough, man. They don't have enough damage. They're too far behind at this point. And really good job by Envy. Just that last saving grace, being able to cast the ultimate right before he died. And you saw No Tail, he just sat there. It's like, crap, I'm dead, guys. Can't move around. Can't use the repel. I think the repel is actually on him, but you can't move around with the ultimate. So, yeah, just really, really good job by C9. The ultimate's cooling down here for Owie. That is an insanely long cooldown, by the way. I know I've heard other people talking about it, but it's still quite good when you're a support because you don't use it that often. And yeah, he's got the Blink Dagger too now, some more aggression coming out from C9.
Yep, love this build on a Wraith King. And again, it's not just for support Wraith King. I've seen Eternal Envy run Wraith King and do this before and then just build out more aura-based and somewhat carry-based items at the same time. And it can just be very effective based on the composition. But Cloud9 has just looked so good here today. And Fnatic has just seemed, honestly, winded is kind of the word that comes to mind. They just seem a little winded in terms of trying to keep up with the play of Cloud9, their movement, their decision-making, and so on. They're going to try to make something happen again, bringing AUI and Sing Sing down into the jungle. Not going to be able to find anything but a couple of treants, but yeah, Fnatic's basically still playing a laning phase here. They just have to play so cautious and just try to play catch-up.
I'm wondering why they maybe just didn't lane the Omnite bottom and just really tried to push it to C9, like, I'm going to shut down your offlaner. But even then, I don't know if they get kill on Nyx. Like, he had an early poor man shield with some pool, and they don't have good heroes, honestly, against him. Like, Slark is okay, actually, because you can keep him in place with the pounce, so I feel like that's the difference here. We talked about last game how with 2 heroes they were able to completely shut down Trixie on Weaver, a hero that gets max movement speed and has the invisibility with Sakuchi. With just 2 heroes, this game they kind of did the same thing with 2 heroes, but they have absolutely no way to shut down the Nyx. They killed him once, but it took him like 4 tries, and even then he got full experience at counter kill and Era.
And I'm actually surprised that C9 is playing as cautiously as they are. I mean, you can see Envy's farming very, very aggressively, but outside of that, not a whole hell of a lot. Now we're going to have a TP up the top as they're already smoking. 3 in that general direction. Trixie was spotted. Let's see if he's going to get out or if he's going to hang. It looks like, yep, he's aware that Envy's there. They may suss this out. In the meantime, Fnatic has come back together as a group in mid and might try to finally get a tower down. That's worth mentioning, by the way. 16 minutes in, not a single tower brought down by Fnatic. And certainly that's a big part of their woes. They're going to go ahead and smoke. They're going to end up smoking right into Bone 7, though. And this should be revealed. Nope, he's actually just a little out of range. There it is. One popped. Now, yep, there you go. They lose it all, and they decide to blink ahead and go ahead and grab one. It's going to be Pile I Die. Here comes the counter initiation. Blink shown off on the Nyx Assassin. Mass damage coming out that time, and they finally chained everything together the way they needed to bring heroes down quickly. Ultimate used by No-Tail in the process, but that's pretty much all they got. And Era at this point with just the Lothars up is not feeling like a tremendous threat. Hani going to be hit by the arrow. No follow-up to come. AUI's there. Now there's a rupture onto Era. They're going to come in. AUI sacrifices himself as he dies. The aura slows down Era, and he's brought down. There's the dust used from Fnatic as we saw the Moonlight Shadow activated, but I don't know that it's going to matter. That's another kill, another well-placed arrow, point blank. Still a good arrow. No-Tail next on the list as he's caught behind his own tower, and Hani forced to vacate and head to the south. Sing Sing not enough mana for another arrow. Pile I died, did use the wards, but yeah, they'll be back up shortly, and I just don't know what Fnatic can do. That was about as well as they could have hoped for that exchange to go in mid, and then they turn right around and feed a bunch back and lose another tower. It seems like every time they try to do anything, this is the result. Dead heroes, dead tower.
And so just the power of Wraith King is the 4 too. He has the ultimate up. You never want to go on him because, like, 1, he's a support hero. 2, you're not going to kill him because he's coming back. And even if you do kill him, it's almost worse for your team because he slows everybody by a significant amount. Oh, dead Trixie. Easy peasy kill here for C9.
Yep. And little overzealousness there from Sing Sing. If he had waited, he probably could have just point blanked him, but tried to shoot it through the trees, tried to give us something to holler about. In the meantime, though, it didn't matter as Bone 7 on the Nyx Assassin in position and able to tally yet another kill for himself. But taking a look at the overall net worth, Eternal Envy and Sing Sing are just very far ahead. I mean, the Bat is the closest, was the only one even in range, and he's still sub 7,000 against 9,000. And the Slark is just about in double up territory. That's just how far ahead C9 is in terms of their cores. They are going to try to get a pick here. Sing Sing leaps away, suspecting something was up and not liking the way things felt. Here comes Hani, though. He's looking for it. There's an arrow. Not there, but Blink and Force Staff allows them to catch out Sing, and they should be able to bring him down, and will. That's a very nice kill and a good amount of gold going to Hani. 701 for ending that killing streak. Envy's now there. We've got more rotations coming in from behind. Let's see if he wants to try to get a catch. Tier 1, still sitting at about a quarter health. Era is to, oh, there's the rupture, and Era's very low. Has to use his ultimate, and they're going to move out and try to punish him for that. If ultimate immediately used, there's the blade mail used, and the rupture was stolen. Rupture stolen and turned back around, and that's going to end up being the death of Envy. Bit of a mistake there, allowing that to be taken by the Rubik. And there's the Hellfire Blast on the fly. They may be able to track him down and will. Sing Sing's there. Era, though, with the repel, now just going to work. Wards went down from Pile I Die, but Era taking through them fairly well. Bone 7 lands the impale, and that's going to be another return kill. So even though they managed to get the Wraith King, they're unable to capitalize and turn it into not only some kind of a marginal win, once again another loss as they give up too much for too little. 21-10. Now they're doubled up in kills, and the gold continues to just go in the other direction.
At the very least, Trixie's able to get the tower mid. I actually thought Envy was going to buy back there immediately and just jump in a fight, because in long, drawn-out fights, if Bloodseeker's able to stay alive, he just wins those fights. It's similar to, like, you can't disengage against a Disruptor. You can't really disengage against a Bloodseeker that's alive anyway, or at the same time. I'm wondering if he's going to go for BKB. Yeah, I see the Ogre Club. I think he needs that BKB, and then he's just kind of invulnerable, because if he withstands the first go, he's just going to just tear him a new one in the fight. Roshan is up here for C9. I wonder if they're going to go for that soon.
Bode 7, under cover of level 2 Mandetta, going to end up right beside Fly. Saw him drop a ward. Yep, immediately pinged out. They know they warded. Roshan, as you said, has respawned, and it's going to be getting down to desperation time a bit for Fnatic. Era's really their lone hope, and he's getting a lot of help. Make no mistake. The Omni Knight is showing why the hero can work and what it's going to do to help you at least hang in these fights when otherwise you wouldn't. But for the most part, like we've talked about all game, just really not an all-around team fight team that's going to be able to hang, especially when you factor in things like AUI and his reincarnation, etc. But for now, looks like both teams are content to just farm a little bit more. If you were, I mean, we're just 21 minutes in. 31 kills in 21 minutes is quite a lot, so it does feel like a bit of a longer game. It looks like C9's ready to go ahead and take another shot at Roshan.
Yeah, and it's pretty much free Roshan whenever they want. They might lose top tower for it, and it looks like they maybe want to just fight instead. 5-man smoke, yeah, they want to fight. They have ultimates up on everybody, especially Aoi. Like, I think that's the big thing. As long as he has ultimate, you can just kind of run him in there, blink, and be as aggressive as you want to. And if they focus him, that's what your team wants.
Moonlight Shadow used. Here they come. There's the impale. Actually didn't get anyone. There immediately was the rupture. And it wasn't stolen that time. Carapace stolen by Rubik. Pilot Eye going to be caught with the lasso era. Hanging around and doing enough damage. But C9 once again just able to clean these team fights up so much quickly. Or so much more quickly than Fnatic can. Sing Sing has another arrow at the ready if he wants to take a shot with it. And Hani walked right into it. Beautifully shot right through the woods. Bone 7's there to help clean things up as well. That's a gem picked up. And this is probably getting close to GG territory as Wraith King even manages to deny the tier 1 top. So no matter how you want to look at it, another gigantic win for Cloud9, who is dominating and here in game 2 even more impressively than they did in game 1.
He'll get the kill onto Aoi, but it'll pop his ulti. I don't imagine he can get the kill. Oh, I thought maybe he got time to get the blink off, but gets the stun up onto Era, and he will be fine. I could almost even kill him because they have vision of him. And yeah, Era has to TP out. They're going to get Roshan. Double damage on...
No, Era canceled the TP because there was help coming. No Tail coming up to help him out, so AUI bit off a little bit more than he needed to. Both could have just gone their separate ways, but Era canceled the TP and got some help.
Looking. I thought it was just like over, so I turned away.
Yep. I think Era canceled it just because he suspected that AUI was going to be coming back around with the Hellfire Blast, but nonetheless, another Aegis for Cloud9. Arrow shot. Not going to find a target this time around. But Bone 7 continuing to play very aggressively, just looking for more targets. He's going to find himself Trixie. And Trixie has been almost a non-influence. His ultimate has been a nice contributor of some damage in these team fights, but outside of that, just have not felt the presence of a Nature's Prophet at all. Pilai died, caught here in mid by Era and Hani. So at least a decent little pick off that time.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that last fight, and I imagine we'll see it again in the upcoming fights, is if Aoi just goes on like someone that's squishy, right? Like for example, the last fight he went on Trixie right away, got him to half HP, and anytime any hero was at half HP, it greatly increases the effectiveness of Bloodseeker. You don't even have to kill a hero. He just got him to half HP. Bloodseeker gets 1 tick on the whatever that passive's called. It's the thirst.
Yep.
And then it just makes it so much easier. It kind of buffs them up in a sense when we were talking about last game as far as buffing your teammates up.
And Fnatic looked like they were ready to try and move into Cloud9's jungle, but still feeling like they don't really have the firepower to do so. And to tell you the truth, I think that's the right assessment. Cloud9, Manta style up on Sing Sing now. He's in fantastic shape, as well-rounded as he is with an Aquila and drums as well. And we can see the BKB Blade Mail picked up on Eternal Envy. So he's in great shape on this Bloodseeker. Pilai die, hit with the Blood Rage, because you know what? Extra attack damage. Get those CS, my son. No Tail finds a regen, but for the most part, it feels like Fnatic just wants to dodge more than they want to actually go fight.
Yep. I guarantee what was said was like, Pilot saying, yo, let's just wait for my Ags. I have it in like 100 gold. And Envy was like, here, let me help you with that last hitting, as you mentioned.
Yep.
Because I see on the courier right there, yep, there's his Ags. So Ag Scepter now here for Pilot. So those wards are going to do more damage, I believe is what it does.
Yep.
And yeah.
For the cost, what do you think's the better item to go first on a Shadow Shaman that's ahead? Scepter or Refresher?
Well, first of all, I think Blink is better, but I think Blink is better, but I would say probably Ags, just so you have the extra HP. But I don't know why he doesn't get Blink. I just think Blink is so premium on Shadow Shaman, but
yep.
I guess he figures they already have enough initiation. And I figure his thinking is like, we're just going to push, I throw down wards, and then anything else I do after that's luxury.
Right. And they really don't need a whole lot more out of him. Fnatic's going to smoke in their own base. Hani Hit with Repel. Magic Immune for a few more seconds if he wants to take a shot at this. AUI, and this is so smart, just putting AUI up front going, yeah, grab him. Kill him quickly, I dare you.
Yeah.
Hani showing his face and making them back at least a little bit. Prophet is trying to split push top, but that does mean they're going to be down a man. But really, this is all he can do. He has been so ineffective for the most part this game. And tier 2 drops. Let's see if they want to fight. AUI is a little bit low health. But
they still have ward. They still have Ag's wards.
Yep.
But they're TPing out. They don't want to. Oh, he actually used the ulti. Bone 7 was looking for Furion, but Furion's out. Nope, he TP's back into the jungle. So if he's not careful, he could get caught here by Bone 7. Be a pretty easy kill too, I think, because Trixie's only got 900 HP.
He's going for Book. At least one would think. He's picked up the belt.
He's gonna find him.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's gonna find him here.
Here we go. Trixie.
Oh no.
Up, double back. There's the Vendetta. Impale.
Oh.
Misses after the mana burn. And Trixie going to be able to sprout himself. Bone 7 not liking the way that felt. So blinks and tries to run away. Knows that Fnatic was likely going to respond in force and was very correct in that. Drops himself a sentry in the meantime. And Era. Oh, nice carapace. That sentry saved him almost certainly. AUI comes in. Ulti pop by Era. In the meantime, we see Wraith King drop. Wards are down though. And Hani shackled amidst them. As the rest of Cloud9 now responding, and poor Fly, Deadskis can only turn his back and wait for the inevitable. Cloud9 not done yet. Era was repelled. Looks like Sing Sing's not willing to give up the pursuit quite yet. Actually ducked south instead of north. And now Era should be able to TP away. I didn't see where he shot the arrow. I was really hoping it would just materialize on my screen, but it didn't. Anyway, 27-13, and once again, Cloud9 just one step ahead, man.
Here we go with a possible gank now bottom, as Trixie could be in some more trouble. The ultimate coming out. I want to see if this cancels. If you can see him.
He didn't.
Oh, he didn't see him. He didn't have the full vision because he wasn't 50%. So
yep.
That was close.
Yeah,
One other thing note really quickly too is that another pseudo buff for Bloodseeker is that you can use the Blood Rage on yourself and use BKB and you still get that extra damage. So
that's worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was curious if Envy was going to be able to get that off there too. I wanted to, because I'm like you. It seems like something that probably would have been hot fixed relatively quickly. So
yeah,
don't know that it was still around, but still, always best to know for sure. In the meantime, we're still sub 30 minutes. That sounds absurd to me. It feels like this is a very long game and it hasn't even been close. It's just because, I mean, Cloud9 has just felt so dominant that usually when you start to see one team feel this far ahead and you start to see so much action and so on, that tends to be a little later in the game that things begin to shake out that way. 15,000 gold is the lead that's been built by C9 so far. A lot more than that. In fact, about 33% more than that in experience. And, you know, at this point, lead they've generated since this game began. And it's just so hard to see how Fnatic's going to catch up. I mean, Omni Knight, for the most part, is a mid-game centric hero. And he's just hasn't paid for himself at all. Hasn't been able to carry his weight.
I don't even think it's like so much that they just don't have damage. Like Era's not doing enough damage. I think the biggest thing is like Trixie needed to be more farmed at this point. Like he needed to have Necro 3 already by far by this point. And they just don't like his team fighting potential. No Tail is amazing. Like it's one of the best heroes in the game as far as team fighting. But you also have to have abilities, offensive abilities, to kill the other team, which they don't really have right now because C9 is just so far ahead as a result of the laning stage that they had, which was so much better than that of Fnatic's. So one thing I also wanted to mention is that Aui's ultimate is so freaking good. It's almost like he wants to use it in fights because you saw after they killed him, the Bat could not run. He was so freaking slow and just took so much damage from the wards that were already placed there. I almost wonder if he just goes for like a Bloodstone, blinks it and kills himself, slows everybody.
I was going to say,
like, just as effective.
I've heard that theory crafted before, and I actually kind of like it. Oh, the rupture so fast on Hani, and he's boned. Can't do anything but suicide because of it. That was so fast out of Eternal Envy. Ridiculously quick reaction time. Tower drops, arrows off the mark, but I don't know that it matters. They spent the wards, and they'll go ahead and pull back and wait for the ultimates to reset. But other than that, just great play out of Cloud9 again. And yeah, it's hard to even pick. You know, we could talk about Fnatic and, you know, their lack of damage, Trixie's underfarmed and all that. But C9's just doing everything right, man. All the little things. I mean, you know, hang on, Bone 7. Back in familiar territory. Missed the impale again, though. Trixie's going to try to TP away in his face and will be able to do so. No! Tossed into the air with the Yule Scepter from Bone 7. Got as much damage as he could before canceling it out with the Yules. Didn't even notice Bone 7 had picked up a Yules, if I'm honest. Impale on the mark that time, and that's a solo kill.
Yep, finally able to hit that Impale. He's missed several, but it doesn't really matter too much as he's still being effective with the Yules. Now, and Yules also, cool change with that is it does damage, so I believe you can't blink away from it. Not that he has a blink or anything, I just remembered that. Kind of a cool change. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think C9 has been playing this really well. Like Piranha, I didn't really look too much at Sing Sing in mid during the laning phase, but I saw how much farm she had at the time, and she was doing well. She's always hitting these arrows, it seems. Like Sing Sing never ceases to impress people, or even myself, when he's playing this hero. So also has a diffusal now for the Omni Knights, where pick hasn't been that effective anyway, but still is a good tool. You can also use it for the GA, for the Guardian Angel. But you saw right there, Guardian Angel doesn't, or even Repel doesn't do anything against Bloodseeker Rupture.
Right.
So yeah, it's just, I don't think that hero pick was very effective, and I think we're seeing the effects of it here in the mid to late game.
Well, we talked about it coming in. You know, this time of year, very much a time when the teams that are direct invited and so on like to experiment. So we can expect to see more wonky picks, I think, not just in D2L play, but across a lot of other tournaments as well. And sometimes you're going to end up with series like this and games like this that really are just kind of lopsided. Bone 7 leading the charge through mid under cover of Vendetta. In the meantime, Fnatic's elsewhere. They're up at top in the dire jungle looking for a gank of their own. Book 3 finally done on Trixie's Furion, but feels quite a bit too little too late. But at least for the moment, they're able to dodge any kind of attempt to gank. Roche will be back up in about 90 seconds.
Yep, they do have some ratting potential with Furion, but like you mentioned, just such a late Necro 3. It really needed to come on much earlier. I thought Christian was going to get more levels in that lane, but it's pretty cold lane. Like, lots of stuns. Wraith King his stun is such a good range, and it's hard to get away from it. Even if you do get stunned, you're thinking, oh, the stuns, I can just run away, but it does have a tapering slow onto it for 2 seconds, so it's a very difficult lane to get away from, and as a result, Furion not able to get anything in the early game, died a couple times, and just hasn't been able to be so effective. And now he's he's trying to get some CS here. He denies his own red Necrobook creep. So he's actually trying to ult the blue one, but he's not going to get it.
AUI there with him. AUI at top, Bone 7 rotating up the top now. Pilot Die's got eyes in the Roche pit, so he'll probably just nest on that. No Tail is, that's not good place to be, No Tail.
This is really smart by Bone 7.
Yep. Looping all the way around, AUI is there to follow it up, and Era can only watch on as they're able to bring him down. And he used the Blade Mail, actually, anticipating the Purification. And so that gives him the kill with the Carapace damage. But yeah, 30-13, and Fnatic still kind of scrambling to find any kind of a foothold, any kind of a toehold even, just to keep them in this match and extend the game a bit. But it's pretty much a trend at this point. I don't think that those graphs are going to be moving too far northward anytime soon.
That was really smart by Bone 7. Like I said, they knew that Era wasn't there by himself. It would be very unlikely for him to play that way. So instead of just sitting there trying to go on Era, they're thinking, oh, they're baiting him, or at least someone's sitting up here, whether it be the Furion or the Omni. Spotted out the Omni, easy peasy kill. So nicely done by Bone 7.
And it looks like the Bat actually is getting a BKB. And kind of makes the Omni pick a little less useful, don't you think? Like, it hasn't been the most useful, but now you're just, I don't know. Roche is up.
I guess now he can save the Repel for someone else, but even with the BKB, like you saw, he lassos someone that's not Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker can still rupture him and still goes to the BKB.
It repels on such a low cooldown at max level. I mean, it's like it lasts 12 seconds and it's on a 14-second counter. So you're talking a grand total of 2 seconds that whatever targets you want to keep repelled might not be able to, might have some magic susceptibility. Whatever. I don't think this game's going to be decided by that one way or the other. We'll put it that way.
Right. I just think the bottom line is that they don't have damage. Yep. Not much more to it. And C9 does, and C9's been playing well. And they're marching to the high ground. Pilot Eyes almost got Refresher, but there goes the Ags wards. I believe one of them is actually under the hill, so it might miss, but still, good for them.
Era repelled. He's going to pounce right on to Sing Sing, and now the Rupture immediately, though. And Era coming back in. Here comes Honey looking for a target. Force Staff was there, and the Rupture was stolen once again. Rubik helping to turn this around. However, the ulti from never mind. That wasn't the ulti. That was actually the... I thought AUI was in the mix in that. Instead, it was just the Aegis. So they managed to get the tier 3. The standoff continues, though, as they're under cover of Moonlight Shadow. Looks like they might just want to pull back. Those mana pools, at least for Envy, looking a little thin. Does have up his Butterfly, by the way. We haven't even made mention of that. So Envy's certainly looking to be in damn good shape regarding his own farm development. In fact, he and Sing Sing both about 7K ahead at this point of the Furion and of the Slark. Or to put it more accurately, how about Shadow Shaman, Pile I Die, sitting on the same net worth as Furion and the Slark?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And Refresher, oh my god. Those wards are going to do so much work. As the Glyph, I believe, now is down for Fnatic. So if C9 just kind of groups up and pushes again, I don't think that Fnatic can do too much. They did lose the Aegis on Potom, but I think that's still fine. They still have cheese up onto Eternal Envy. As you mentioned, the Butterfly, it's going to really mitigate auto attack damage from Slark if he had any to begin with. He's only hitting for 130. So, yeah, just everything going well for C9. It's hard to commentate too much more on that because they're just so far ahead. And like you mentioned, the lead is now, wow, 30,000 experience and about 25,000 or so in gold. So,
yep. And Fnatic at least has the gem, so they're able to get some vision together. But yeah, I mean, Slark did finish as Scotty, and that's worth mentioning. I mean, that's a decent pickup for him. But they're just going to have to basically turn things around with better play. I mean, whenever you get into leads that are this big, C9 could just about A-click and go win. And especially now with the refreshers up, just, you know, basically just A-click, use your ultimates, GG. And
I love this Vlad's pickup by Aoi. I was going to mention this before he got it, how good Vlad's would be. They have so much action here. Hold that thought.
Lasso onto Eternal Envy. The Rupture was used as well, and they're able to bring him down. So that's a flat pick off. Wards go down from Pile I Die. Has the Refresher up and ready if he wants to drop another set. Impale off the mark from Bone 7. The rest of them pull back, so they lost Envy, but they're able to hold their own ground in the meantime. Behind that, Trixie trying to split push. Looks like he is going to be getting himself a Maelstrom, so going with a pure out-and-out rat build. Book 3 plus phase plus a Maelstrom build, and I guess that's probably the right call, but either way, very nice pickoff from them. They needed something like that just to extend this game a little bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely. Really nice pickup there by Hani. You almost wonder if, like, Lincoln's would be better for Bloodseeker instead of the Butterfly, because the things that are killing him are auto attack damage from Slark. It's the nuke damage from the Firefly plus the sticking napalm and the purification. So if he can just reduce the catch potential from Fnatic, I think that'd be better. But nonetheless, that's neither here nor there. Here comes another possible engagement here bottom.
Fnatic led by Era trying to make it another big exchange, but not going to be the case as C9 able to retreat fairly easily. Wards will be back off cooldown for Pile I Die at 40-some seconds, so we'll probably look to see them move out again there. The Aegis already gone. Roche could be a consideration as well. And just knowing how C9 plays, they may just decide that. Just, hey, let's just go farm, get another, half a big item, some kind of, more utility items, and then just wait on Roche and then go win. But they did pick up a smoke, so they could end up wanting to move out and try to be aggressive as well. Fnatic doesn't have an option. They have to make aggressive moves.
I'm actually very impressed with Fnatic right now. Like, most teams, if you see this graph, especially with like double wards up on a Shadow Shaman, you're thinking this game is over, and it pretty much is. But they're staying in this, and they've been staying in this with this deficit for about 10 minutes, give or take. So still kind of impressed with the rat abilities with Furion, but this could be the end-all be-all here with the smoke coming out from C9 with double wards ready to go. They spot someone out as their smoke gets revealed, so Fnatic knows what's up.
AUI and Envy revealed by Era, who behind that we actually see the wards go down, and they're able to pick off the Omni right off the bat. C9 getting the jump on them and able to get a kill right at the tier 3. Furion ultimate, not all that scary right now. Pile I Die still has a set of wards. He's already refreshed, so he's able to drop them as soon as he wants to. That's Rax down. Should be both. Do they have the damage? They should. Yep, here come the creeps just in case. So, yeah, they'll definitely be able to bring this down. And let's see how patient they want to be. They're just going to rotate. Don't blame them. Another set of wards. Throw it right between. Yep, there you go. Right between the racks and the towers.
Actually, trapping Bone 7 right there. He's going to have to blink out.
And Bone 7 blinks out. Gets the mana burn off. And the follow-up from AUI. Hani's there with the lasso to drag back Bone 7. Behind that, though, Trixie's cleaned up, so they trade a Nyx for a profit. Buybacks. Only one actually spent and that was by Trixie. And all they can really hope to do now is maybe get a return kill on the way out. But 2 racks down, this kind of deficit, Roshan coming up soon. Don't know that Fnatic really has any realistic shot anymore.
That's how strong Shadow Shaman is. Like, even if C9 didn't have this momentous or this humongous lead that they have, if he has double wards, like, he can still do that. That's how strong this hero is with double wards with Ags. So, very strong. He's got another 3,200 gold, too. So, again, the shop for this game, for Pilot Eye, the shop is his oyster.
Top 3 in terms of overall net worth all belong to Cloud9. 20K worth for Sing Sing right now. He's played another great Mirana. 14-2. I think that tells the story of the game, really. Sing Sing has been everywhere. Era, I mean, he's gotten some work done, sitting at 8-5, and off of that, just kind of a grab back, 6-3, 6-5, what have you, on down the line. But really, just, it's the same as game 1. I mean, we can nitpick 1,000 things that could have gone wrong, could have been done better, could have been done worse, whatever, what have you. There's really no other relevant way to say it, I think, though, than Fnatic's just played better. They've communicated better, they've made better decisions, and they're about to walk away with a what Cloud9 has played better, I should say. They're about to walk away with a 2-0 win over Fnatic. And what has been a dominant best of 3 so far, and a very important one for them if they want a top seed in D2L Western Challenge play. Here comes Era, looping around from behind. Hani takes to the skies, and now Rupture onto No Tail. Once again, he's silenced out and cleaned up. Not a whole lot can be done except retreat that time. Era did manage to get a kill in the meantime, but ends up paying with his own life. Buyback out of Pilot Die. Don't even know if there's buyback. No, Slark can't buy back right now. We'll be able to in a few seconds, though.
Yeah, but this is like going to be double wards on the tier 4s. I think they're just going to go straight for the throne, and I don't see why not. Even if Slark does have buyback, I don't think that he's going to have any way to stop this. This could be the end.
And Cloud9 making the rush. Slark can't buy back. Omni Knight cannot buy back. Looks like they're just being patient about it. Yep, there's 1 and 2. So Cloud9 should be closing this out right here and right now. Time to go farm the well, because that's what you do. GG, as Hani biffs it there, and AUI even able to make it away, and the Ancient blows. Very commanding performance out of Cloud9 here today, as they walk away 2-0 victors and improve their standings, moving now to 5 wins overall and putting themselves in a position to challenge for a top seed in postseason D2L Western Challenge play. That was the last series Fnatic had here in Western Challenge play, so they finish up 3-4. They're right smack in the middle of the pack. There are some scenarios, I think, if you look at it mathematically, where they could end up getting screwed by that and maybe missing the playoffs, but I very, very rare, or very, very low possibility that would happen. So Fnatic not coming in at the best seed, but will be in, almost certainly will be in postseason play as well as C9.
Yeah, and I don't know the stats 100%, and I would love to see them on like specific players, because I feel like Sing Sing's got the best KD by far in D2L for a single player. Because every game it seems like, even when they're losing, he's like 15-2. Or I remember a couple of games we cast when he was playing the Templar Assassin several times, where he went like 20-1 or whatever it was, and doesn't even change it up this game. 15-2 for him, just solid performance for him and the rest of C9. And I just also got to say big credit to Pilot Die for his drafting. I don't know if he's getting help from the rest of his team too, but nonetheless, he's in the drafter spot, and he's been drafting phenomenally today. Not to mention, the team has been backing him up and performing well and communicating well. So very, very well played by C9.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I would be shocked if Sing Sing wasn't #1 in overall KD. Even the matches, even when we've seen them struggle, he seems to have fairly decent games. But it just felt like C9 was on another level today. And Fnatic tried to get creative, tried to make some things happen, but in the end, just not really able to hang and bang. And that, again, improves C9 to 5 wins. They're 5-1, moving into their last match coming up later this week. So make sure you stay tuned for that. 35-16 final kill score, 42 minutes 58 seconds. The official game time, and our D2L broadcast for the day draws to a close. I'm your host there at AC Chambers. Well, I should say the gaming part, the gaming-related part, the Dota casting part draws to a close. It's 2:42 right now, so we'll probably be jumping off of here and taking a brief moment of downtime to set up for Reported, which will be coming your way in about the next 15 to 20 minutes. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We're going to have a Reef, also known as MSS, on from Team Dog to talk shop about what he thinks about the qualifiers. Of course, there are rundowns and general jackassery and shenanigans and so on and so forth. So make sure you stick around for all of that, guys. Once again, do want to go ahead and take a look at the overall standings of D2L Western Challenge Play. I know it's been a little while since we were on the air, and we did have some downtime again just because of the mass number of tournaments that have been playing themselves out recently. We can see sitting currently in first place is Evil Geniuses. They and Na'Vi, both with 5 wins. Na'Vi done with their overall D2L season play, though. They are certainly going to be in the postseason. Just a question now of rankings. With this win, as you can see, leading up to today, Cloud9 was 4-1, so they've now improved to 5-1 with 10 points on their own. So a win. If EG wins and Cloud9 wins, looking ahead to their remaining matches, they'll both be in first and second seed, and Na'Vi will have to play early on. Empire still has a couple of matches left, 2 left for them. Fnatic finished up today again, 3-4. That should put them in solidly in 5th place, as the other teams behind them have struggled mightily. Liquid and Alliance both at 1-5, and certainly a big surprise from Alliance the way that they performed here in D2L Western Challenge Play. They have a match coming up against EG, believe it or not. It's their last match. Looking ahead, and very important for both teams. Again, EG looking to lock down the top seed, while Alliance, hell, they just want to sniff the playoffs. And Liquid very much in the same boat. Roxas has 2 left as well, so kind of a potential for shakeups down at the bottom. And I'd have to take a look at the points, but based on what I'm seeing now, it's possible even that Roxas could surpass Fnatic. But I think that one way or the other, Fnatic is virtually guaranteed now a chance at postseason play. So thanks again for being a part of the broadcast, guys. Again, this is Western Challenge signing off for now. We'll be back in about 15 or 20 minutes coming up with our weekly show report. It'll be myself and, of course, Charlie Monolith Yang to help break down all that's been going on. We had a couple of weeks off again because Charlie was traveling and everything else. So we do have a lot to talk about. So make sure you come on back or just stay tuned for the next 15 to 20. See you then.